Good morning, friends. Hello, hello. How are you this morning? I pray you are well. As we come back to another week, had a great Sunday event. The Reverend Alan Palmer was here um, for our Switcheroo Sunday. Hey, good morning, Donna. Hope you're doing great, keeping warm this morning. That our live stream broke out on Sunday. So if you had the opportunity, but we did get the audio. So if you wanted to hear Alan's message on Sunday, that is on our Facebook page. Um, Sorry for all of the struggles with technology. Sometimes it just happens. Hey, Jamie Battles from Target. Hope make good choices. Like Target's brutal. It's a hard place. It'll uh, it'll hit you hard. Like I call it the $100 store. I can't get out of there without $100. So, Jane, good morning to you. Hope you and John are well this new week. Fannie Faye Davis, good morning. I hope you're having a great morning. Karen, hello, hello. Glad to see you this morning. John, good morning to you. Hey, all the gang is here. This is awesome. Sharon, good morning to you. Hope you're having a great day. It is dangerous, Jamie. You are right. So, hey, friends, as we gather this morning, I just want to let you all know, as I know we are a community that cares for each other and all that, that our dear friend Fannie Faye Davis is having some health challenges. And so I would ask as you pray today that you might lift her up in your prayers and hold her dear. Also, if you remember Kiana, some of you may know Kiana, some of you may not. She was recently ordained in a preaching ministry at our friend's church in East Freetown. She has been in our graced our pulpit a number of times. Well, she just had baby Justin a few months ago, and he's kind of pretty sick. He's got a few different things going on, including RSV. So please pray for baby Justin as well. That in these days. So, and it's part of the joy of this little community that we come together at 11:11 every so often and have this chance that we might be a little group of people, a little group of pilgrims going through the world together, that we might pray for each other, that we might lift one another up, that we might hold one another dear. Even though the grand digital divide is still out there and it still is real, there is a way in which we still can transcend the distance and the time and the space. So whenever you're hearing this, whenever you may find yourself, whether it is at this 11:11 or it is another time in your life in your time, know that I pray for everybody that might hear these words after we're done. So know that you've been prayed for today. I know that this little community that you find yourself in, this little digital gathering space, has been going now for it's coming up on 5 years. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? That's crazy, crazy. All right. Okay, friends, that's our little welcome this morning. Let's get going. It is the 14th day of January. It's the middle of January already. It feels like it's still New Year's Eve. I don't know about you, but it is the middle of January, the 14th of January on this Tuesday. Welcome, and I am glad that you are with us. You know, I was just reflecting this weekend that it's been 4 months since Hurricane Helene came across, almost 4 months since Hurricane Helene came across North Carolina and began to just wipe whole communities off of the face of the mountainsides of that place. And now we look to the west and we look to the fires in LA and all of the incredible cultural landmarks of Tinseltown that are being consumed in fire and that are being brought low. And this devastation that in the mountains 4 months ago, and the devastation that we're watching kind of unfold in uh, LA and in California, uh, there's this strife and there's pain and there's destruction that is clearly even 4 months later still there. But what we see in North Carolina and we begin to see in LA, even though the fires still rage, we begin to see the responses to it. See the Amish brothers and sisters from that have come over and continue to build little tiny houses for people to live in and shelter in the frosty mountain air and be able to have a place as they rebuild and they find new homes. We see Samaritan's Purse still continue to be working in those rural communities to care for people who lost their homes and loved ones in North Carolina. We continue we even now see there's somebody somewhere right now fighting a fire in LA seeking to preserve the infrastructure and the community out there. You see that, and this is what I think is just so when we look at this, the response when we look at the world and we say, my God, things are just coming undone, they're coming apart. But there is nothing so powerful as the response to these things, that our response to them is always more powerful. That because when we respond as in kindness, when we see our Amish brothers and sisters when caring for those in North Carolina, when we see Samaritan's Purse, what we come to realize is that wind and water and fire, no matter how hot, no matter how deep, no matter how violent, is not as powerful as love and and truth in this world, as God's love lived out in the best way that we know how actually always wins against these powers that we suspect, that we think in their offing, in the time that we're receiving them, we think that they're just going to wipe us all out. And certainly there will be people who have fallen, who have lost not only homes but have lost lives in these catastrophes. But love comes to North Carolina, and it still does, and thousands that are responding and continue to respond and are brothers and sisters in crisis. Love will come to LA in the many that will respond, and to these, that truth will come to the land in the rebuilding and the restoration of homes and jobs, and maybe a little more in a little more of a just way than the way in which they were laid out before. We watch these fires rage in Hollywood and LA. We watch and we realize that all that glitters in Tinseltown might be wiped away. But that's not the responding. That's not the that's not the love of God, which is always greater than that. And that is always rebuilding in the midst of that which is destroyed. Because wind and waves and fire cannot best the love of God. The storm will moved some things around up there in the mountains. It moved rocks, it moved dirt, it moved trees. The fire is moving some things around in LA. It is in devastating homes and that which were beautiful places that are now smoking holes in the ground. But it's not at the core of what is unfolding in the response to it. You see, the experience of heaven or hell, the experience of this is not what these things are creating. Because even in the midst of it, we see people responding with heaven in their hearts. We see receiving with the love of God. We see Samaritan's Purse. We see the other responders coming to this. That we are always empowered to choose between heaven in our midst and hell in our midst, no matter how hot the temperature may be in the burning of the structures around us, or how deep the water, or how violent the raging river may be as it sweeps things away. that we can look at the devastation, and we can say we can choose to rob and steal and to victimize and ignore and ignore the suffering and turn our eyes away, and or we can continue to respond and respond and respond again. None of Because this is the thing. None of us will move through our lives without the firestorms and the Hellenes of our days. There will be days in the living of our being in which we will have one of those, the before times and after times experience. When someone we love passes out of this world, even in a most elegant and beautiful way, there is still a time in which they were there in our lives and they no longer are, and they've been swept away. Then when we may lose a job or a love or a physical attribute or a physical ability or something, that inevitably storms will rage, inevitably catastrophes will come, inevitably fires will find us. And the question again is, will we bring with us heaven, or will we bring us with us hell? Will we rebuild and rebuild the world in which we have been come to, and in it bring heaven with us? When the great prophet Haggai, okay, nobody really ever calls Haggai a great prophet. I mean, he's in the part of the book that says the minor prophets, kind of for a reason. But Haggai is in this place in which the people of Israel have literally lost everything. They used to live in Jerusalem. Jerusalem is attacked. The people that aren't killed are dragged off to Babylon. In Babylon, they live for a few generations, and now they are sent back to Babylon, from Babylon to Jerusalem, and and nothing is as it was. The temple has been destroyed. The people that used to live there are no longer the people that used to live there. Their loved ones have been swept away. Everything they have in this little community comes back to the center of Jerusalem and says, "What shall we do?" And in the midst of that question, Haggai stands up as the voice and of God, says to them, "Go up to the mountains, bring wood, and rebuild the temple, that I may be pleased with it and be glorified." Now, says the Lord, that I may be pleased with it and glorified. You see, friends, the efforts of our days, the work of our lives, the work of caring for our neighbors in the mountains, the work of caring for our neighbors right here in the city, the work of caring for the world, the work of rebuilding and sustaining, the work of that is the work that Haggai invites the people of Israel to go up to the mountains and bring wood to rebuild the temple, that I may be pleased with it and glorified, says the Lord. You see, we have not been brought into this world to simply survive. Now, survival's great, it's essential in some ways, but it's not our response to the things that would wipe us away. It is not the thing to consider in our response to the chaos and the crisis of the changes of the world, whether they be brought by fire, whether they be brought by water, whether they be brought by the changes around us. We are here to build and build again, to build and build hope and faith, and the knowing that whatever the change is at foot, God will and has always overcome that, because the power of Christ, the power of Jesus, is the power to itself to build all good and true and wonderful things in this world. So don't be afraid of the winds that blow and the changes that come. Don't be afraid of the things that may drag us off to exile. Don't be afraid of that movement which seems so far out of the things that we can control. They bring with them nothing but fire and water and terror. But instead, hear the words of Haggai. Go up to the mountain, climb take the challenge that is before you right now. Go up to the mountain. Go to the most sacred and beautiful and the best place you can find in your life. Go to the most worthy, just the thing that is important and is sacred to you in your life right now, and build. Take some resources. Take the wood. Take and build, because it's in that place. It's in that place. Whatever's going on with you physically, whatever's going on with you emotionally, whatever's going on, whatever kind of crazy thoughts you're thinking, whatever's going on in your career, your job, or your family, build on the place in which the temple stood. Build on the place in which there's true and good and beautiful things in your life. Take the spot, climb the mountain, make the sacrifice that you need to get and bring the resources so that God may be glorified and that he may rejoice with you in it. Because we see in all of the great responses to all of the great storms that love always wins. The truth always brings with it this way in which a new design, a new beauty, a new grace. And so, friends, take courage, hold fast, rebuild the temple that is seemingly crumbling in your midst, and dare to proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ in your life. That to live without fear, to live without despair, but to live in hope and love and faith in a world that desperately needs you to do so. And that is climbing the mountain and dragging your wood and declaring and hearing that God is pleased and glorified. All right, friends, that's my hope for you today. Peace and grace to you all, and we'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11.